Welcome to Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust, covering car culture and the automotive world with Shane Osborne, Brady Wright, and Steve, the producer, Johan. Let's see what's up this week.
Hey, here's what's happening. Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. Brady Wright, Shane Osborne, and Steve, the producer, Johan, joining millions of listeners on this 119th episode of Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust. Actually, Shane is not joining us tonight because he's got an ear infection and he's taking some time off.
Yes.
But I just want to tell him, Shane, I hope that you're doing... Oh, wait, he won't hear me. Because he's got an ear infection.
That's right. Oh,
I'm sorry.
That was not nice,
Nah,
Brady.
well, what are you going to do?
Right.
You can find us, by the way, on iTunes, iHeart Podcasts, Spotify, and, of course, Podomatic.com. Make sure you like and follow our Facebook page. Otherwise, we will hunt you down and short sheet your car. All the latest shows, of course, there, as well as the earlier ones, which is kind of fun to go back and listen to some of the earlier stuff because we were... better than. No, wait. This is our very first show of what is calendar-wise our third year, and as usual, our first segment is Back to the Blacktop. Steve Johan has automotive news and information as usual, and today I can say without fear of overqualification, he didn't make any of it up. It's all real.
Jeez. It is real.
It is.
It's real, and I've got some very interesting information here.
Do you?
First of all, Toyota wants to weave itself into the fabric of society.
Of course it does.
And it plans to do so quite literally by building an all-new city near Japan's legendary Mount Fuji.
I'm sorry, they're building a city?
They're building a city.
Interesting.
That will serve as a living laboratory to explore clean energy, alternative transportation, and other smart city concepts.
Toyotaville.
Well, the giant automaker plans to break ground for what it will be called Toyota Woven City in 2021. So close.
Toyota Woven?
Toyota Woven City.
Is that W-O-V-E-N?
Woven. Now you're going to understand this in a minute.
Okay, all right.
With a goal of
right.
initially having 2,000 people move into the 175-acre complex.
Okay.
The name of the project carries with it a subtle double meaning. Toyota, having originally started out as a company making looms.
Yes, that's true.
And other equipment for the fashion industry.
Mm-hmm.
Building a complete city from ground up, even on a small scale like this, is a unique opportunity to develop future technologies, including a digital operating system for the city's infrastructure. Okio Toyoda, the CEO of Toyota Motor Corp., and the grandson of its founder, said during a preview at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So it kind of reminds me of the smart city that Musk and company had involved, where they built some houses with these great panels, which I think is kind of cool. I don't know if
all that stuff started. I don't think it even actually started then, but it was very prominently displayed back in the World's Fair in 1962. The city of tomorrow, the home of tomorrow, all that stuff. They had, of course, the technology wasn't there, but they've always looked at that kind of thing, and I think it's inevitable. Sooner or later, of course, we'll have everything that, plugged in. I worry personally about the lack of privacy because everything is going to be recorded and live, and there's already a lot of that stuff going on.
I'm with you on that.
But the technology is very exciting.
I think it is. And a trivia question, well, not trivia, but a segue.
A trivial question.
My folks took me to the 1962 World's Fair.
Well, you were 3.
I was 3, and I do remember going through the Science Center.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then the big pavilion where it had all sorts of tchotchkes and stuff, and I bought a little teeny, shiny, what looked like a shark tooth, but it was like a stone, and I still own that.
Ah, very cool.
And then I have what my parents gave to me is the 1962 really tall glass commemorative set. All 7 of them, 8. The 8th one got broken.
Are you talking about glassware?
Glassware.
Glasses. Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm going to get that stuff out here soon.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And then I can pour beer with that. We used to put floats in there. That was something that my mom would make root beer floats, and we'd use those because they're really tall.
There is a Facebook page, World's Fair or 1962 Seattle World's Fair, something like that. Memories and historical stuff. It's kind of cool because there's a lot of neat stuff on there. I have a set of blueprints for the Space Needle that was given to me because it got handed off to my dad. My dad's company did most of the HVAC for the center when it was being built. And so at the end of the build-out, all of the contractors got to pay, a set of prints for something, and it just happened that we got the Space Needle. So, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Well, anyway, we can go off on a tangent. I'm not
Yes.
something new from the world of music, and
Really?
I wanted to touch base on this. Auto supplier Continental has teamed up with Sennheiser, well-known stereo company, a specialist in audio equipment, to develop a revolutionary speakerless audio system for piping entertainment into the vehicle's interior.
Speakerless.
Listen, the unique system, which they put on display at the Consumer Electronics Show, fills a vehicle's cabin with immersive sound.
With what?
Immersive
sound, okay.
Immersive sound by eliminating the need for speakers. It saves weight, which is a premium in auto industry now.
So how does it propagate the sound?
Well, basically, the system abandons conventional speakers by integrating Sennheiser's patented AMBEO 3D audio technology with Continental's AC2 ATED sound system. Instead of using conventional speaker system, it excites the selected surfaces in the vehicle's interior to produce sound.
So it's essentially making the interior of the car into a horn.
Yes,
but there's got to be a driver somewhere.
Well, the technology borrows from classical string instruments, which uses their wooden body as a resonance chamber.
Right.
In this case, the system uses specially developed actuators to excite specific surfaces in the vehicle's interior.
So Klipsch, back in the day, Klipsch, who was speaker manufacturer, they used what they used to call a folded horn system to increase the ability of the speaker cabinetry to produce sound in a clearer fashion. But they had a horn. There was actually a driver in there someplace. So what you're telling me, what I'm getting is they're using
actuators.
The car as the folded horn, sort of, but the actuator is the driver. So it's got to be someplace.
Yeah, it says actuators cause components such as the A-pillar trim, door trim, roof fill lining, rear shelf to vibrate.
Oh, it would have a harmonic frequency of some sort.
So they emit sound in different frequency. Results in extremely natural sound experience for the occupants.
Interesting.
Who feel as if they're sitting in a concert hall surrounded by sound. Now, what I think is cool about this is if you can do this in an aftermarket application, can you imagine all the ability to, when you customize your car, you could put a little more sound deadening material if that's what it requires, and all of a sudden you have no more speakers to deal with, which is kind of a dreaded scenario when you're customizing the interior and you got all these speakers and stuff.
This brings up a lot of really interesting things, though. Every car, because of the difference in the configuration,
it's got to have an equalizer system.
Well, but every car might sound different, respond different, certainly, and whether you have the windows open or closed might make a difference.
That's a very good, interesting thing.
And if you use a different sort of rug system or upholstery or something else, sooner or later they're going to find like the perfect car for the best audio.
Right.
And I guarantee you it's going to be a Pacer or something. That is like. I spent $250,000 on my Mercedes or my Maserati, but the Pacer's got better sound. It's going to be one of those.
Well, they have to have some kind of a system, and it sounds like they do. They have to have some kind of a system that equalizes out the car, that manages electronically, computer-wise.
Well, they have sound coloration.
Sound coloration.
Yeah.
And then my thinking is, well, if it's vibrating the car, what is it doing to my body? Am I going to get internal organ vibration that's not healthy for me?
Yes.
And even brain wave situations.
You'll be listening to Disturbed Down with the Sickness, and your liver will explode.
That's what I'm
exactly
wondering.
What's going to happen.
You're going to walk out of the car after an hour
eyeballs will
of this.
begin to bleed.
That's right. Well, that's just the kind of thinking.
Which may not be a bad thing. It could be fun.
But I think
I think that is fascinating. That's one of the coolest stories you've had lately. And what a great story to have for the first show of the year.
We will look up more information on this.
I want to know.
It's being rolled out at the Consumer Electronic Show, and they said that this is becoming the place because Sony just opened up their brand new battery-operated car.
That is very cool. Hey, thanks for tuning in. It is 2020. Coming up on the Windshield View, we will be talking with Car Chix. Don't go away.
Hi, it's Jeff Conwell with the Monsters in Manson, giving a big shout-out to everyone at Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust.
My mind's out of gear, and my heart's in overdrive. I've everything to fear. I ain't never been more alive.
Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust is back with first half of Windshield View, and this week we're talking with representative and founder of Chix, a group that promotes women in racing. Welcome, Jeanette, and is Desjardins?
Oh, no, it's Desjardins, isn't that right?
That's correct.
Ha.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
We're
Thanks for having
fine.
me.
How are you? How are things in Chicago?
It's cold.
I bet it is.
out here.
You got snow there?
No, we don't have snow yet, but it looks like we will have some by this weekend, and they say measurable snow.
Measurable snow. Well, that's always the worst kind. We in Seattle here we have not great weather. It's not actually raining at this moment, although it has been. But they're talking about a little snow Monday for us as well. So who knows? Maybe we can both go out and do a little shushing and platzing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I would trade you the Chicago snow for the Seattle snow.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. I've spent a winter in Chicago one time. It was like 3 years long.
Yeah, right. It seems like it.
Jeez.
You left your cold and broke.
Yeah,
Funny.
yeah. No, it was a very educational experience. Although I will have to say, it seems like everybody, no matter where you live, your view of who can drive in the snow is always the natives know what they're doing. It's the tourists who can't.
Oh, yeah.
I was pretty convinced that nobody in Chicago knew how to drive in the snow, although I will give you it's mostly flat. And that's a big benefit. In Seattle, we have hills. We actually have the same number of hills that San Francisco does, except some of them are steeper, and it's worse because they get covered with ice, and then people just go sliding right down into the bay.
Yes,
Scary.
buses and all.
Yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
been-
There's videos. Just for fun, you can Google Seattle snow drivers bad, and you'll see it's actually amusing as long as you're not one of them.
I'm definitely going to have to do that. I'm in for some entertainment later.
Oh,
this
gosh.
evening.
There you go.
Hey, so tell us about Chix. I know what it says on your website, on your Facebook page is, and I'm going to quote, it's the premier motorsports organization for women. Now, that is a big title to live up to, so tell us about it.
Sure. So Chix, you hit it right on the nail. We are the premier motorsports organization for women. We advertise and promote women in motorsports, the automotive industry. We also try to provide resources, and we travel the country, and we host ladies-only drag races.
Nice.
In between the ladies-only drag races, we actually travel to other tracks and work with other promoters. We have a merchandise trailer. So, in 2019, we did 37 events. We almost hit 40, except 2 events got rained out and 1 got snowed out. Believe that or not. And so
That's
we're
embarrassing.
Yeah. I was like, really? It's May, guys.
Yeah.
It's May.
Yeah.
What do you mean? There's like a foot of snow at the racetrack? You're kidding.
Where was that one?
Cordova. So it's right on the border of Illinois and Iowa.
Oh, okay. Well, some snow.
Iowa can get some snow out there, yes.
I have to ask, there's a great women's racing outfit in the state of Washington, in the city of Spokane, which is in the Inland Empire. Have you done anything with the folks over there?
No. Actually, I've never. Not yet. I hate to say no. I just want to say not yet.
Okay.
So we're slowly but surely spreading our wings. We've been doing this for 10 years now. And about 2 years ago, I quit my corporate job, and this is like my full-time deal.
I love that.
And and so we've been all over the Midwest. I'm about to leave in 11 days to spend a month down south in Florida. Pity me. And
oh no! Oh, you poor thing, you.
Yeah. Yeah, poor thing, you.
Yeah.
They're still racing down there, so that's
Oh,
fantastic.
sure.
Really excited about getting down there. And,
That's very cool.
Yeah, we're kicking off our season early this year.
Well, that's
We'll
great.
say hello to Don Garlitz for us.
Oh, yeah.
Been
I
past.
got to drive right by him.
I'll bet
Yep.
you will. Hey, I'm going to have to share with you the name and contact information of the women's racing team in Spokane. I think that'd be you guys would get along well together, I think.
Yes, please do.
I'll send it to you.
The
Once we get off the air, I'll send it to you.
Yep, and also
Sounds good.
we have a connection that does. She's a female motorcycle drag racer. She does all Harley drag racing. So She just got her National Hot Rod Association
NHRA,
Yep, license.
Yeah,
so I can get you in touch with her too. So she's all about.
Would love that.
Oh yeah, we're all about networking.
Would love that.
So
yeah,
tell us.
Same here, and that's what a lot of Car Chix is about. Is like how it all kind of started was about like just connecting other people to other people and giving everyone like a platform.
Nice.
So yeah, really big on the networking thing, and the more the merrier. And we're all about supporting others, and teamwork makes the dream work. So
it says you started in 2009 and you kind of launched in 2010. So tell us about that. I mean, give us what was the thing that sort of clicked and said, okay, we need an organization.
Well, it's kind of funny. So when I was like 15, like maybe a little bit younger than that, I wanted to open up an all-girls garage, right? And I was like, it's $1 million idea. Women trust women not to rip each other off, and then guys will just come because they want to see, chicks working on their car or something, right?
There you go.
At that age,
it's exactly that simple. Sure.
Yeah, it's that simple. Go to college, walk across stage, get that piece of paper, you're a millionaire. And
there you go.
Like, there's any kids like that is not how it happens. Nothing magical like that really happens at all. So I did the next best thing. I bought the domain name for like $7, and I didn't do anything with it for a long time until I was in college and I was working at Great Lakes Dragway, which is the oldest operating drag strip in the country.
Right.
And I met some awesome young ladies. Like, we're all in our, younger 20s, and we like to hang out, and we were into cars. And, we have this horrible thing called winter that seems to last like 9 or 10 months out of the year. And so we wanted to be able to keep in touch with each other over the winter, like just on, like what we were doing to our cars or, what was happening in life, personal life, whatever. And so I launched this website. It was like a very basic forum, and it was super ugly, but it was something for us to keep in touch. And within days, this thing crashed because there was so much traffic going to it. So many people were registering on it. I was on like a really cheap, sketchy server, and it just couldn't handle it. So after it crashed at the in December 2009, maybe 2 weeks later into 2010, we relaunched it and we called it Car Chix 2.0. It was still a form. It was still pretty basic, but it was black and it had hot pink in it, and that was it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. What more could you ask?
Right. And so that's how that all started. And the only means of, I guess you could say, advertising was just social media. And that was way before Facebook ads. I don't even think YouTube was really that big of a thing, or even around it just kind of took off like wildfire. And that's how it all started. It wasn't really meant to be what it is today. It just kind of evolved.
Well, they say you never write the book you start out to write anyway. I mean, it always kind of goes in the direction that it's going to go if it's organic at all. You do a lot of things with the community, and that's pretty cool. We have one of our previous guests, Kenny Earls, runs a program called Keeping Hot Rodding Alive, where he takes young kids who don't know anything about the automotive business and shows them how to build cars and hot rods and stuff.
God, I love that.
Oh God, they took a car to SEMA this year. Just a fantastic thing. But you do an awful lot of stuff in the community. I see things, breast cancer awareness and 411 Children's or 4-H Children's Foundation and things. Tell us about some of that.
Sure. So our very first event was in 2010, and we held a ladies only drag race and breast cancer fundraiser again at Great Lakes Dragway. And it ended up breaking attendance records during one of their bracket race programs, which was pretty amazing. And so we always give back. We've been doing the breast cancer thing every year since we started. It was just kind of a natural thing. We're a women's organization. What's one of the number one issues that women have that we can contribute to or get back to? And it was breast cancer. And
right.
So, and we always give to, this is kind of like a traveling fundraiser. We've had it at a number of different racetracks around the Midwest and even down south as far as Memphis.
Jeanette?
And
I'm going to need a...
Have we done 10 minutes already?
I was just like, man,
that
look
was
at the time.
really fast.
So
don't forget where you were. We'll jump in and do this in just a minute. Hang on. We'll be back with Jeanette Desjardins.
Well, we are back with the second half of the windshield view, and we are talking to Jeanette, and Jeanette of Chix. And before I forget, I just want to let everybody know, don't leave after this. We've got our really cool story coming up.
Oh, that's right.
But Jeanette,
and the trivia question,
and
too.
the trivia question. Don't forget about that.
Most important thing that I ever do.
Oh, I know.
And by the way, also to remind you, carchix.com, CHIX.com, is the website, and they have a Facebook page as well. We will post links to all of that on the Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust page, so in case you find something that you are fascinated by during this evening's talk, you can get all of that there.
Yep, and we were just finishing off with the race, and why don't you go ahead and pick up where we were left off there?
Oh, right.
Sure. So, we were talking about our fundraising ventures, and
yes.
So we always give back because it's a traveling kind of fundraiser. We find that it works out the best to give back to the local community, right? So say we do breast cancer fundraiser at Byron Dragway, that's located right outside of Rockford. So we would work with a breast cancer organization in Rockford, and it's because it's the local community that supports the event, and more than likely it's going to anyone in the local community, if they end up getting sick or need the services, they're going to go to that organization.
Sure.
And we always find it's the smaller organizations, not to knock anybody, but it's the smaller organizations that really give and do more than, say, some of these very, very, very large ones.
Yeah, and you find that they're actually helping out the community. They probably come in and help out with transportation and extra needs of the women there locally that are going to get their treatment and stuff. We've seen that too, but I wanted to shift gears for a moment and step back for a minute. Lest people think this is just all about you going around and talking to women. You are a racer, and as I understand, you actually own a couple cars. Talk to us about that, and when did you actually get into drag racing and wrenching on cars, and who inspired you to do so?
Sure. So, I have some street cars. I don't have these full-blown crazy race cars. But yeah, I have a 99 C5 Corvette, a 93 Ford Mustang GT, and my boyfriend's got a 82 Buick Regal, big block Chevy, small tire drag radial grudge car. I've always been really into the motorsports deal. Just more of a I was telling someone the other day, it's I love to play basketball because you're always doing something. It's always exciting and super stressful. I hated baseball because I can't just sit there and not do anything. Going to the racetrack, I'm a terrible spectator. You'll more than likely find me in the pits helping someone do something with their car or prepare or do something. I can't sit in the bleachers and watch a race. I just can't. I don't know what it is.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, it started at a young age. I actually I dropped out of high school sophomore year. I started going to this local community college, and I enrolled in their automotive repair program when I was 15.
There you go.
And I was the youngest person there. They didn't require a high school diploma at the time, so I never said anything, and learned some skills of the trade. Didn't come from a very well-off family at all. If something broke, you had to fix it or you had to manage. And I wanted a car, obviously, because I wanted to not be home as much as possible as a teenager. And so if it broke and I didn't have any money, I had to fix it. And so picked up some skilled trades, met a lot of great people along the way, and this is how it all kind of got started. So unintentional.
That's funny because my son loved playing soccer, but he doesn't like watching it, and he likes doing. He doesn't like to watch much, and then my middle son he enjoys watching football, but other than that, he's a doer as well. He was doing robotics. He likes to do mechanical stuff, and he wants to be involved. He wants his hands in it. And to be honest, I'm kind of the same way. I like to be involved doing things. But I have some boys that are just like you in the sense that if I'm active and playing, that's fine, but I don't want to watch it. So.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to really explain. It's I don't want to sit there and watch the world pass me by. I want to get in there and get my hands dirty.
Well, speaking of getting your hands dirty and not waiting for things to pass you by, I love the title of your one-of-a-kind race, the Chix Ladies Only Drag Race. And you started this one back in 2010, it says on your website and your Facebook page, but it apparently has gotten it's turned into a monster. So tell us about that one.
Sure. So what started off as one event has now turned into a full race series. Just in 2019, we did 6 events, technically 7. One's our ladies only drag race breast cancer fundraiser. Then we started doing ladies only no prep. No prep's a really big thing in the drag racing community right now. So we have a whole class just for that, just for the ladies. We do that twice a year.
Nice.
We even opened it up to Battle of the Sexes. I mean, there's this transition going on. 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of things for women in motorsports. There wasn't a lot of data or research out there. Now it's everywhere.
Sure.
So now we're starting a transition called Battle of the Sexes. Now we got the guys, we got the husbands and the wives and the boyfriends and the girlfriends racing against each other. I don't know what happens at the end of the race when they go home, who sleeps on the couch, or who makes the meal. I don't know. We even opened it up a couple years ago to junior dragsters. We have kids as young as 6 years old racing with us.
Yeah, that's
wow.
the best. That is the best.
It is. It's really important. Like how you're talking about that other guy that got the car to go to SEMA. It's really important to get the next generation involved.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Who's going to carry the torch?
We go to the NHRA, the Top Fuel Nationals, out here in Seattle every year, and the best part of it's a 3-day deal. The best part of Saturday during the qualifiers is the kids in the the little mini rails with the 2-cylinder and the 4-cylinder motors. And it is just great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too cool to see them,
So
and they're
cool.
having just as much fun as the guys doing 325.
Yeah, some of those things are that's not a cheap hobby to have your kid get into.
No.
My parents are probably really blessed that I was into Barbie dolls. I didn't know anything about junior dragsters. I wish I did. It's pretty cool.
Well,
And they move. Some of those things are pretty quick. I mean, they get up to 60, 70 miles.
Oh yeah, 60, 70.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty for somebody who's 9. I mean, for heaven's sake, that's moving right along.
we thought
Right.
we thought 15 miles an hour on a go-kart was pretty fast in those days, back in our day.
I'll bet you their 70-mile-an-hour kid dragsters are a whole lot safer than my 15-mile-an-hour go-kart was, though.
Look how great we turned out.
Yeah, well, yeah, except for those pieces that come off at night. I mean, it's like...
I'm missing a couple fingers.
Yeah, that's scars of growing up. I think we've all got a couple of those.
When you go, you're heading south and you're going to be in Florida. What are the? Let's take a moment. What I have learned in my short life of following drag racing is that there's regional and there's national, and in most cases, people in your shoes, people who are not a quote making a profession out of this, but it's a high-end hobby, is they do more regional, multi-state, regional racing, and it's only the big guns with the big money behind them that can do the the multi-state tours and stuff. So talk to us a little bit about that aspect, because I've noticed that there's regional legends of drag racing, and then there's the national legends of drag racing. So do you still find that that's a very big thing within the drag racing circles out there?
I do. So we were at, in 2019, we got invited for the first time ever in the history of NHRA anything. Chix got invited to host a Chix grudge match. I got to handpick my 2 fastest gals that were I picked girls that were in close proximity of time to put on a good race, put on a show, and we debuted the Chix grudge match at the NHRA Nationals at Route 66 this last year, and it was amazing. The stands are packed, people are yelling, screaming, the pits are packed. It's a pretty cool experience and feeling. And then we also, for the last couple of years, I've always been a vendor and a big supporter of the Burn Down at Sundown program, which is an event that runs during the NHRA Division 3. So it's like one step below, from what I understand, national level.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that still, draws a lot of people. It's don't be fooled. It still costs a lot of money to run in something like that. They have just as many races, and, the difference between, I think, these divisional races and the national level is, one, money, sponsors, time. A lot of these people have regular jobs, just like anybody else. Like, you only have so many days to take off work. They have families.
Yep.
You know, what can you really do? So I have one of my girlfriends races Division 3, and you know, so they only plan on attending, you know, only plan on attending like maybe like 4 of the races, just because, you know, dad's got to work, she's got to work, and just the costs involved. But they try to get out as much as they can and do with what they have, you know.
Well, the other side of that is the fact that the sport and the activity has gotten big enough that it's attracting sponsorship, and people are actually finding that, like, okay, I have to make a decision between work and or going to promote the sport. That's actually really exciting. I mean, the fact that sponsors are interested, that is ultimately cool, because that's, you know, one of the measures of success.
Right, and you know, we've been fortunate enough. Some of our sponsors have been with one of our sponsors, Other World Computing, OWC Pro IT Services. They've been with us since day one. I mean, to hold on to a sponsor for 10 years, I mean, it's hard to get a sponsor. It's even harder to keep them.
That's excellent.
So, and it is, and it's not getting any easier to get sponsorship. And you can get like product sponsorship, but product doesn't put gas in the rig to get to the racetrack. You know?
There's that.
Unless you're getting. If Shell gas station's listening, I'm not even picky. If Mobil One's listening, give me a call.
Sure.
We have a conversation.
Well, and from you were telling me when I was setting this up that you actually have an RV and then a trailer that's all outfitted. So when you go to the events, you used to do tents, and now you have a full-on trailer where you pop open the sides and people can come in there or on the purchase merchandise. But you've actually, so how long you've been doing that? And then I think if you want to, you can share something you're going to do this year that's been a little different.
Sure. So I got the trailer about 3 years ago, and all the way up until then, I was sleeping in my car. I had one table, one tent, and one T-shirt. And, you know, as the events got bigger and, you know, experiencing, when you're doing outdoor events, you're in, you know, God's will. It could rain, it could snow, it could hail, it could have a tornado. I mean, I've seen it all. And, like, that kind of sucks when you have a tent. So with the trailer, it made life a lot easier. You could be more efficient. You can hold more stuff. You have less things getting damaged. And you don't have to set all this stuff up, which is great. I mean, you have minimal setup.
Sure.
And, you know, you can
open the window and go.
So, yeah, open the window and go. And that's what it is. It's a merchandise trailer. And, I mean, we have clothing, like we have T-shirts and tank tops, jewelry, decals for men, women, and children. Our number one selling shirt says something like, your car was so much faster on Facebook.
There you go. Yeah. I think I know that guy.
And again, about 3 years ago, I just got tired of sleeping in my car, and I saved up enough money, and we were getting to the point where, you know, I had all these people coming to help me. I had, you know, like teenage girls and a couple of my guys. So now I had to spend money on having multiple hotel rooms. It just didn't make sense anymore. And so I just bought one. And it's not anything huge. It's a little C-class. And but total length from the front of the RV to the back of the trailer, now it's about 45 feet.
Nice. Well, that's comfortable. You can put your feet up in something like that. Hey, and you also, it turns out, you also sell Car Chix memberships, right?
Well, we don't sell. We're working on a membership package. I've been working on this for like a year or two. And
okay.
I want to be able to offer an actual paid membership, but I wanted to have something that's valuable to the person purchasing it. I don't want you to just give me money and then I'm going to send you this little ticket, a
sticker,
and a T-shirt. Yeah, I mean, you can just buy one off my website. I have an online store, so I'm working on making something of value to offer to have people buy into a yearly membership, but it's just not quite right to be released yet.
But it's cool to think about stuff like that coming down the pike.
Yeah, so, I mean, we do have members, but you have to enter our annual Women in Motorsports contest. We do it in end of September, early October every year. You submit a family-friendly photo of yourself with your vehicle. It's voted on by the community, and the top 12 get in. And that's
that's great.
Very nice, very nice.
But what's new for 2020, and we're gonna like launch it right at the U.S. Nationals down in Bradenton Motorsports Park, and we're gonna carry it over to Lights Out 11 at South Georgia Motorsports Park in Valdosta. We're launching Car Chix Roadshow.
Oh, very nice.
It's just like, I mean, I'm in the trailer all day at all these different events. You meet so many different people, so much like culture in the motorsports industry. There's so much camaraderie. You know what? We're just going to capture it on film.
That is too flippin' cool. Well, I want to say, Jeanette, it's really been excellent having you on the show. We're just about out of time. I want to tell people, go to www.carchix.com. You will not be able to miss it. It's pink and black, and there's pictures of great-looking women and great-looking cars on there. Everything you could possibly want to know about Car Chix is there. We will also post a link to that on our page. Jeanette Desjardins, thank you so much for talking with us tonight on Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust.
Hey, pleasure, guys. You guys rock. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it's our pleasure. We'll have you back again, too. That'd be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Maybe we'll talk to you after you get back from Florida.
Yes, with my new tan.
Nice. Hey, the weekly trivia question is next. We got to take a peek at next week's show. Put it in park. Stick around. We also got a great story from Lance Lambert's personally autographed book. Don't go away.
It's time for Cars Confidential, and we're back with a story from Lance Lambert this week.
Yay! Oh, sorry.
Thanks a lot, Brady.
Lance told me to cheer for him.
Oh, is that what you were doing there?
Nah, maybe.
I thought you were braying over there. You were braying. So what's up?
Well, actually, this is yet another story from Fenders, Fins, and Friends. And I actually ran into Lance at my my New Year's Eve open house, or my New Year's Day open house. Yep. So we talked to him, and I said, I know that this is going to be difficult for you, Lance, but if it wouldn't be too much trouble, perhaps you wouldn't mind if I occasionally read a story out of your book. He said, "Go ahead." Good. So, fine. So I have this. This is actually a good one. It's called Confessions of a Car Thief. And before I read it, I want to point out that most of these stories are Lance's experiences. So I'm not sure where this story goes, but we're about to find out. So many decades ago, I was employed as a car parking valet at a fancy pants restaurant in Tacoma, Washington. I'm not going to name the eatery since they, being a place I still can't afford to frequent, likely have a good legal counsel, and they may sue the pants off me, fancy or not, if they deem this story to be unflattering to their establishment. Oh, come on. At 18 years old, I was trying to gather enough cash to continue my education. At the restaurant, I was provided with the opportunity to drive cars that I couldn't afford to own and eat food that I couldn't afford to buy. I could not believe my good fortune at being offered a job that provided both. My wage was simple. Keep the tips received from the patrons and order anything from the menu. Well, all right. No paycheck was provided, by the way, but it seemed like a fair deal to me. It's likely that my short tenure as a valet resulted in severe shortage of beef cattle in the state of Washington. Here was the routine. You, the customer, drove up in your car. I opened the door for you and your companion. You handed over the keys and entered the restaurant while trying to convince yourself that your cherished chariot had been left in good hands. So far, so good, unless you arrived in anything with a convertible top or a fiberglass body, or was made in Europe, or with a high-performance V8, or anything else that flipped my switch. Your car was safe if it was a boring family car that resembled anything me and my Millie would drive. But remember, this was Tacoma's finest eatery, and Millie could not afford to dine there. The majority of the clientele drove very desirable cars, not conservative family cars like her Nash. You arrived and made the mistake of handing your keys to me. Now what? Well, that depends on the car. The usual routine was to park the car at the lot in the front of the restaurant and wait for the next arrival. This was done with the least exciting cars, but the next level up, such as a new Cadillac or a Lincoln, were driven across the street to a different parking lot. This gave me a chance to add about 1/10 of a mile to the odometer and also experience the acceleration and coming ability of the vehicle. cornering ability. There you are. It did no real harm to the diner's car, yet it provided this happy valet with a taste of upscale car ownership. Now, for the bad news. Beware all owners of Mustangs, Corvettes, and all British luxury or sports cars, especially Jaguar XKEs.
Mm-hmm.
Your car was guaranteed to end up in the parking lot across the street by way of a very scenic route. The restaurant was located in a remote area that was accessed by 1/2 mile of winding road from the waterfront to the eatery's front door. Off I went to test the car's acceleration and ability to withstand excessive G-forces. I drove to the waterfront and then turned around for the rapid return to the restaurant. Back I sped and then slowed down and, as discreetly as possible, parked the car in the lot across from the restaurant. I suppose, technically, the patron's car had just been stolen, albeit for a very short time. Thankfully, the perpetrator was never caught in the act, was never asked to explain the indirect parking route or the multiple mileage on the odometer. It was part of my job to remember which car belonged to which patron. Upon noticing the car owner preparing to leave the establishment, I would have their car waiting in the front driveway. The doors would be open, and this smiling valet would hand the keys to the owner with one hand and wait for a tip with the other hand. My career as an occasional joyriding car thief valet stopped with the end of the summer and the beginning of school, the night that I let a diner's car roll down the restaurant's driveway and crash into another patron's parked car, and my boss's car may have also been a factor in my short period of employment. Enjoy your dining experience tonight. Don't forget to tip the valet.
Apparently it wasn't very busy because he had enough time to drive these cars down the road and spin around the block and come back, and then there's another one waiting in line.
Yeah,
maybe there was a couple of
I have a
valets.
similar very short story. My first job, my actual first paying job, was as a busboy at the Seattle Yacht Club, a prestigious location. And the busboys also occasionally parked cars if there was a need, and there are not too many diners, so we did do this. And there was a guy a member, it was a membership, club. There was a guy who came in who had, and I hate this guy immediately, but I also loved him. He had two Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwings. He had a white one with a red interior, red leather, by the way. And he had a red one with white leather interior. And he used to drive them sort of alternately, and he never parked them himself. He always gave the keys to whoever happened to be standing there busboy-like. We had these nifty uniforms.
Right.
And we were to park the car. Well, I need to tell you that it was difficult to get out of those cars. Not because it was physically impossible, but because you didn't want to leave.
Oh, right.
You just didn't want to leave, And, oh, man. I never took one for a drive because you couldn't. It was kind of on a sort of a dead-end street, and there was no obvious way to... there was no way to get out of there without everybody knowing you were doing it. But, boy, we wanted to.
Well,
and there was another guy who came in who had a Facel Vega.
Wow.
Do you remember those things?
No.
French car. It was a 58. It was gorgeous. If you want something amusing, just look up Facel Vega, Facel Vega, 1958. Same body style as 56, 78. Gorgeous car and very sexy. Looked kind of like a 56 Lincoln Continental, but smaller. Absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, I had a similar experience, except we didn't joyride them because you couldn't. But
you could take and stretch that 30-second backing in and parking into maybe a minute or two.
Maybe, yeah. That's about all we could get away with.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Lance has some great stories. This is from Fenders, Fins, and Friends. And, of course, you can get it on the Vintage Vehicle Show website. It's by Wooded Isle Press, and I'm sure you can get them on Amazon as well. And thanks to Lance for letting us read a story now and then because... there's some great stuff in there, absolutely great. And he also has Grins, Gears, and Gasoline,
yes,
Gears, Grins, and Gasoline. Maybe that's it.
That's
remember.
It. It kind of reminded me of when I my first big job that I got when I was 16 is down the street from where I lived. The Quist family was there, and I always had the hots for the daughter. And it was funny because that's another story. But anyway. I ended up finding out that there was a job, and they had a janitorial service on the side. He worked for the telephone company, and the wife ran the janitorial service. And so they kind of contracted out with the telephone company to clean all the GTE phone centers all the way up to Mount Baker.
Okay.
And also do some other stuff in the area. And so I ended up driving around in the van doing cleaning on the weekends. Well, occasionally there would come a time when I'd have to do something in the evening or the van wasn't working. So the mother just said, well, here's the keys to my 73 full on, probably it was a Cadillac, and I can't remember, but it was the big one. Yeah. And go ahead and drive this, Steve. Oh, man, talk about a boat. And you just felt like you were floating down the road in that thing. And she trusted me. And I never wrecked that car. I was very, very cautious. But that, putting trust into individual kids at a young age is sometimes a good thing, because I was very responsible with her car, unlike my own, which I ended up banging up quite a bit.
Thrashed,
yes, because I was not very responsible. But I think we all have a few memories like that.
Well, if we don't, we should.
Yes. Well, stick around. We got more of the show coming up, and a, trivia question to be answered and asked.
If you can, you're an El Camino man, only you can understand.
El Camino man. I want to see do you have a cape that you wear? Is it, you got one of those deals where you're wearing the underwear on the outside of your tights? It's just,
when mine's all completed, then I'll have to be cranking that. And
you need a hat. At very least, you need an El Camino hat.
Yes.
Right. So this is Around the Wheel. This is where we talk about upcoming events and the weekly trivia question. And the trivia question is going to be very cool. I do have a sort of a tease, really, for an upcoming event. Last year, in the city of Seattle, we had a first ever event in 70 years of history. Now, first off, in order to explain this, Seattle is the hydroplane capital of the universe. If you want unlimited hydroplanes, this is the place. Lake Washington has for years been the mecca for hydroplane boat racing, and there's no doubt about this. And last year, the people, and the 70th year, the people at Seafair, which is a giant motor festival, by the way, decided that they should have a car show as part of the event. They contacted me. I put the thing together and produced it, and under Seafair's auspices, and it was a great success. A lot of fun. First shows are always a little bit interesting, but this one turned out really great. I got a call, an email really, from the producer of all of Seafair, and I'm having a meeting with him tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
about the second show. It was successful enough that they want to do it again. And get this. The talk is that they want to do a 2-day event instead of a single. So I will know more about that next week. Perhaps we will have, super secret ninja stuff that we can talk about. But I'm pretty sure that this year is going to be even better. If you are anywhere that can allow you to get to the Pacific Northwest in the first weekend of August, do not miss the opportunity to either come and see or perhaps, bring an exhibit to this Seafair Classic Car Show. It is going to be absolutely epic. So the trivia question from last week was really kind of a cool one. It was the last trivia question of 2019, and it was, what in the city of Tokyo is actually faster than a car in most traffic situations, under 50 miles an hour? And the answer to that, which nobody got, I cannot believe that nobody got it. It wasn't really all that complex of a question, but it is kind of a weird one. In Tokyo, a bicycle is faster than a car for most trips of less than about 50 minutes because the traffic is so ridiculous.
Yes.
You can get through it on a bicycle way easier than you can with a car. And if you thought about it, you would know this. It's not really all that complicated, but nobody got it. It's okay. We're going to start the year off with an excellent trivia question, one that I guarantee you somebody will know the answer to this, because it's a class. Since it's the first show of the year, I'm going to ask, when was the first speeding ticket issued in America?
Oh, man, these are not easy.
No, but Google, you could probably get it. If you know, you can go to our Facebook page. You can find the question. You can answer it by Facebook Messenger. You can send us an email at contact@horsepowerchromeandrust.com. You can send us a Facebook Messenger thing. There are all kinds of ways you can do this. When was the first speeding ticket in America issued? You will know. You will send us. And you, too, could get your picture and or name stuck with our bucket of barn find dust, which, of course, continues to be the most coveted prize in all of podcastdom.
Oh, yes. What a unique prize that you came up with, Brady. That was your idea.
I did. Well, I stole it, but, I was the first one to steal it.
Yeah, so I know. So I mentioned this before we went to our first break, and is Sony took the automotive and technology world by surprise today at the Consumer Electronic show.
Yes. CES.
rolling out a fully functional prototype electric vehicle it developed as part of its Vision S mobility initiative.
That's right.
The Japanese electronic maker is known for developing a variety of creations that many consider outside of the lane, particular robots.
That's right.
In fact, the team has developed its robotic dog, Aibo, also produced the car. The concept car bears a bit of resemblance to the Porsche Taycan, and it doesn't actually have a name. However, it is running and completely
Cool.
road tested.
I like it.
Stay tuned for more information.
Well, we'll have more on that, no doubt. Hey, we reach about 1 million car enthusiasts every week. Your message gets directly to them. Thanks for liking and following our Facebook page and our website. We are Shane Osborne and Steve Johann. I'm Brady Wright. And as we always say, keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, and your foot to the floor. Next week, we're going to do it again on Horsepower, Chrome, and Rust.